Welcome to eTohum TV, my dear guests, my dear seyircilerim. Bugünkü konuğumuz Yonca Medya Grubu CEO'su Dilaver. Türkiye'ye geldi. Ben de onu konuk etmek istedim sizlerle beraber. Bu bölümümüzü İngilizce yapacağız. Bundan sonraki kısmına İngilizce devam ediyorum. Dilaver, welcome. I have introduced you just in Turkish. He is the CEO of Yonca Medya Group. How did you attend to Yonca Media Group? Why did you join the group?
Well, first, thank you, Barak, for having me here. I appreciate the opportunity. I joined Yonca Media Group earlier this year in 2009. And before that, I was at Yahoo. I was heading up Yahoo platform strategy and business operations. Coming to Yonca was, I happened to run into Kareem, and we were discussing about Yonca's going to the next level, and the company was looking for someone who has had consumer experience, consumer web experience with a significant brand. And for me, the opportunity to frankly lead a company in a vibrant emerging market such as Turkey was very compelling. And I remember having the conversations, and I came here in Turkey, spent some time with the team, with our partners, and was very impressed by just the dynamism of this place, and also where internet, and especially where social web is in Turkey. So with all that, I decided to take the role.
Mm-hmm. And briefly, can you give us some background of your work experience?
Sure. As I mentioned earlier, I was at Yahoo just before coming to Yonca, where I was essentially responsible for business strategy and operations for the platform division for Yahoo. I have a blend of experience. I have both the consumer web experience from Yahoo, but also worked in the enterprise space in various product marketing functions at Siebel Systems and SAP. And earlier in my career, I was in management consulting with Deloitte and Ernst & Young. So it's a range of experiences, both on the enterprise side as well as on the consumer web space. And it's interesting, I think, in the consumer web space with a site like Yonca, which has very high adoption, the experiences of having built scalable enterprise products actually come very handy from time to time.
Mm-hmm. And I think 8 months in Yonca Group. How was, when did you come to first Yonca Group? What were your impressions? You told briefly about the Yonca Group was a high energetic and so on. And what is now, I mean, what is the difference between the first month and end of the 8 months?
It's a good question. And I think it's been some time, and it's that I can share with you some assessment. When I first came here, and actually my very first week at Yonca, I decided to come to Turkey. And this was also, by the way, the week when President Obama was visiting Turkey, and he spoke to Turkish students in Istanbul. And I don't know if you recall, but Yonca was selected as the only officially the Turkish site that carried President Obama's town hall speech live. That project was a window for me to see how the company actually operates. So my observations, as I mentioned earlier, Barak, was I was very impressed by the energy and the dynamism of the market overall. I wanted to see how Yonca was doing, and as you know, Yonca has had its transition, especially after the Facebook has had a very good success in Turkey, and my impressions were that we certainly had a work cut out for us when it comes to improving the product, when it comes to repositioning ourselves as a leading social web property that provides distinct value to users in Turkey. And what we've done in the last 6 to 8 months is we have focused very, very heavily on the product front. And there were essentially three things, three elements of that product strategy, which we have pretty much implemented now. One is that we, frankly, decided to go local. Yonca is the largest Turkish language social network. It's the oldest one, 2003, end of 2003 is when we went online. We in aggregate had 5.7 million members. If you look at the overall Turkish population, internet population of 28, 29 million users, that means 1 out of 4 or 5 Turkish internet user has been or is a Yonca member. That's a very significant, that's a very compelling statistic. We also see that these users, those who are active, are very, very engaged on Yonca. an average user spends anywhere between 1 hour and 15 minutes to 1 hour and 30 minutes per day on the property. So it's high engagement. And having worked at a place like Yahoo, I'll tell you, this is really off the charts. So what we focused was, one, going local, trying to become a niche in this new operating social system where Facebook, the brands like those are dominant. I strongly believe, and you've seen the response from my users, that if you offer rich local context, you have the ability to complement what a global brand does. There's a lot more to localization than just translating a web page into Turkish, which I know Facebook can do, and they do it well. So by us being here, being homegrown, having a team over here, having feet on the ground, me spending about 2.5 months to 3 months this year on the ground, it gives us the ability to come up with features that are very local. As an example, we have offered things like you can update your location status in Istanbul or Ankara, wherever you are, and what you can do around it. We are launching actually an iPhone application in a couple of weeks to build that feature further. You can look who is around you nearby in your location and try to meet them. Now, all that rich local context happen because we understand this place. We have the data from users, and we can actually roll those things out. So going local was one big part of the strategy, which we have focused very heavily. Second was, as I mentioned to you earlier, we have very high engagement of users on our property. When I got here, if you look at what these users did, it was mostly profile sharing, photo sharing, but there wasn't more than that. One area that we have focused very heavily is gaming, and I'm sure you're familiar. The games are doing phenomenally on the web. And Turkey happens to be one of the hottest markets. So we have rolled out more features around gaming, brought more the social element to it, and we are seeing some good early results. Third thing, very briefly, that we have done is the overall usability. I'm a big believer in that you have to respect your users. We need to offer best-in-class user experience. And that's a benefit I think people like myself have, who have been trained in Silicon Valley, is that user experience is paramount. So we spent a lot of time over the last few months literally analyzing every clicks and how things work. And we relaunched Yonca.com about a month ago. It has a new look and feel. It's cleaner, it's simplified, and we're seeing the positive response from users as a result of these things that we've done.
And you told shortly about the Facebook competition. What happened to Yonca in last 6 years, and Facebook got into Turkish market last 2 years, and there is probably you will not put them in the same basket, but Yonca has lost some ground.
Well, absolutely. I mean, if you look at that has happened all over the world. A lot of the local players, have lost some share to Facebook. I want to focus on present and going forward, and frankly, what we learned from that experience. One thing that I am very clear in my head, and our team is, I don't see us as competing with Facebook. I actually see us as complementing Facebook. As I mentioned to you earlier, we are the local niche network in this social web operating system in which the brands, global brands like Facebook are operating. Their presence should not and absolutely must not take away what we, the local players, offer. Because in a place like Turkey, where I'm here and I'm seeing that dynamism, there will always be a compelling need for a local brand, and that's what we offer. In fact, I'll be honest with you, we are so sure of that strategy that one of the first things that we did when I took up my role was to launch Facebook Connect. We were actually probably one of the first social networks globally that had no issues with launching that feature because people are already there on Facebook. We wanted to make sure they had an easy way to come back to Yonca if they had not been here on the site. And that feature has been very helpful. Today, about 10 to 15% of our new users are logging in using Facebook Connect. So I don't see Facebook as a threat. They certainly have a strong presence. We need to figure out a way, how do we complement what Facebook does? And there are plenty of ways that we can do that. And I shared with you some of those features that we have launched recently.
Do you have a differentiation in the income model of Yonca? Idea.
We are, as you may know, Barack, we started off as mostly a subscription business, and then we had a very good run at advertising as well. It's been a mix. It remains a mix to this day. I wouldn't say that's a differentiation. I think that's more a reflection of where the market in Turkey is today. If you look at the advertising spend, there's obviously display there, so we get a good share of that, and we also still have a subscription revenue line. But with our new products such as gaming, we are hoping to bring some additional revenue. I will also mention briefly, since you brought up the revenue question here, we have seen some good success with mobile payment management. And again, that's a great example of a local player being able to strike local partnerships. So about a few months ago, we launched SMS payment management with Turkcell, and we're in the process of doing the same with Avia. Today, because of that micro-payment management through mobile phones, we are seeing a significant portion of our subscription revenue coming through SMS payments. A lot of our users are young. They may not have a credit card, but everybody has a cell phone. And we've been able to benefit from that feature heavily.
How many people are there in Yonca Group, Media Group?
You mean the company overall?
Yeah, company.
We have, if you include our sales house, which we work with an outside partner, but we work with them very closely, we are about 20 plus people. And these are locations in San Francisco as well as Istanbul.
Did you reorganize when you come as a CEO of Yonca, the group?
Yes, we did do that. We had to see where we were, where we wanted to go. And in order for us to be able to execute on that strategy, we needed a certain skill set. And I actually, last time I came here, I spent about 5 weeks in Turkey. And I must have met about 50 candidates for various positions. I interviewed. And we were able to discover some great talent. So yes, I would say more than reorganization, getting new talent in that was relevant, that had the right skill set for us to be able to execute on our strategy. We definitely went through that process.
You also spend lots of your time in Silicon Valley and US. How do you see Turkish market, internet market, from looking over there?
It's a good question, and I'm glad you asked that, Barack. I think there's a very good realization in Silicon Valley and the US in general that emerging markets is where the growth is coming. And if you look at, for example, even Maktoub's acquisition by Yahoo recently, my former employer, there is a recognition of that. So US remains strong, Western Europe remains strong, but they know that it's places like Turkey that are the rising stars when it comes to new markets. So they're seen very favorably, and we are grateful to be in a position where I have presence in Istanbul as well as in Silicon Valley, and we learn and we deploy what's happening in the valley when it comes to product. At the same time, we take the trends and what we're learning from here from people like yourself back to Silicon Valley, to all the folks who are making investments, who are looking at which market to enter, whether they're big brands or smaller brands. So it's definitely seen very favorably, and I certainly see that myself when I visit. And
from last question, how do you see internet future in 2010? What are the emerging business models, and how will they grow next year?
That's a big question, Barack, and I'm going to issue a disclaimer that by no means, I can pretend to have a perhaps very solid answer to that. But I can tell you from what I have learned from our experience and what we are seeing, I think this whole phenomena of social web and how people use that to enrich their lives and share and connect with others, and now increasingly entertainment via the gaming, that will remain strong, that will continue to do very well. The challenge would be, how do we monetize that? And it's something that I think many brands, including the big ones, are going through as an experience. And we, by the way, have done well in the past. We've been very custom in terms of working with our advertisers to be able to offer such solutions. So big trends, to answer your question, is definitely the continuing dominance of social web as a phenomenon, and entertainment, social web, via the social web. And finally, perhaps some emerging payment management models. I shared with you, in our case, the SMS-enabled micropayment management, which has done very well. So those are some of the things that at least we definitely see from our vantage point.
Dilawar, thank you. I'm very happy to guest you here as our guest on eTohum TV, and we will be happy to also guest you on Saturday on eTohum Entrepreneur Camp and share your experiences with Turkish community, Turkish internet community. Thank you very much.
But I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you. Thanks.
Bir sonraki eTohum TV programında görüşmek üzere arkadaşlar.
Turkcell'in 3G farkı.
Ya Hidayet abi,
Ne var Nuri?
merak ediyorum abi.
Hey Nuri.
Bu 3G'de Turkcell'in farkı ne abi?
Videom Facebook'ta Nuri.
Ben de Facebook'tayım ki abi.
Kameranı aç Nuri.
Açtım abi.
7505'i ara Nuri.
05. Aradım abi.
Potanın dibine koy Nuri.
Koyayım abi. Koydum abi.
Bas potaya Nuri.
Nasıl olacak ki abi?
Gel buraya Nuri.
Geldim abi.
Hazır mısın Nuri?
Bende vertigo var abi.
Şimdi Facebook'ta herkes görsün Nuri.
Aha, videoya yorum geldi abi.
Ne diyor Nuri?
Yeme bizi Nuri.
Cepten videonuzu çekin, çektiğiniz video anında Facebook'a yüklensin. Videom Facebook'ta sadece Turkcell 3G'de.